Yeah, my friends, Flamengo has prepared a spectacular strategy. I had talked to a source connected to the board 2 weeks ago when Flamengo took a while. Flamengo was trying to get things ready for this trip to Cusco. And I asked, man, but what do you mean? When they told me, what do you mean? Is Flamengo going to stay there for 2 nights? And the effects of the altitude, there's a fla-flu on Saturday. And then the answer was for me to stay calm, that they were working on the issue. I said, man, what do you mean? Are you going to set up a hyperbaric chamber for the players at the hotel so the players can get oxygen inside the hotel? And then the person's response was, calm down. We're going to go over what Flamengo did. And look, Palmeiras fan, Palmeiras influencer, Opina Porco, understanding everything that's happening between Leila, Vasco, Pedrinho, these attacks from Pedrinho, and from Leila together on the same day at the same event. They were talking there. I think it was at the same event. Guys, I saw the statements there, but they were talking about Pedrinho, talking about BAP, and Leila wanting to attack Flamengo. And I hadn't realized that the problem was much deeper. We have 3 key players missing for Flamengo in this trip to Cusco and also in the next matches of the Brasileirão. He's going to talk about all of that. Here we go as always. Hey guys, Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just joining, please follow, like, and share on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe below, turn on notifications with the bell, and like the video. We're coming to you thanks to the Caravana do Haroldo. Our reporter Gabriel Orfon is already boarding for Cusco, right? You can secure your spot at the Libertadores with the Caravana do Haroldo right now. Secure your spot right now, man, for Flamengo's games at Maracanã, with tickets included in this fantastic Caravana do Haroldo package. And of course, we're here too. Always in partnership with AIP Florida. You can secure the best insurance options in Florida. If you're in Florida and want to insure your car, AIP Florida. Also, just a reminder to those of you here with us that you can lose weight in a healthy way. With a slimmer program, you get more hair. Just look for it. There's always a Mais Cabelo near you anywhere in Brazil. Look for Mais Cabelo right now. Well, I want to start here by talking about this important Flamengo match, their debut in the Libertadores in Cusco, and Flamengo is without the team's 3 key players. Yeah. Start of the Libertadores away from home, high altitude Flamengo. Without Alexandre, they'll go with Ayrton Lucas. Without Eric Pulgar, Everton Araujo, and without Jorginho de la Cruz. Yeah, will he? Or will he go with Paquetá? We have some news from GE that made me really worried, okay? Really worried. Yeah. Because without these 3 pillars, Flamengo really needed to take Nicolas de la Cruz on the trip. And apparently, according to the GE article, Flamengo is considering resting players for this trip. Today, we'll find out Flamengo's squad list. They'll sleep there tonight to play tomorrow. Flamengo travels, sleeps there, and I'll also explain to you what Flamengo is doing. Yeah, but look. Apart from those already under the medical staff's care, GE reports Flamengo may face another absence. On Wednesday in Cusco, the coaching staff is analyzing La Cruz's situation, as he reported feeling unwell when playing at high altitude. He has no condition preventing him from playing at high altitudes, but he felt unwell in that situation. Last year, De La Cruz was cut from the Uruguayan national team before the match against Bolivia in El Alto, a city at 4,090 meters, that's 600 meters higher than Cusco, right? He didn't travel with Flamengo to Quito, Ecuador for the LDU match. Look at that. And look, Quito is almost 1,000 meters lower, 600 meters lower, right? 600, 500 meters lower. The coaching staff and the medical staff are discussing the situation and will make a decision this Tuesday when Flamengo travels. That's today, right? Cusco is 3,350 meters above sea level. The expectation is that the Uruguayan player will be rested for the match. But Flamengo found a solution that we're sharing with you regarding pressurization and oxygenation there in Peru, okay? So De La Cruz played 40 minutes in the win over Santos and did very well. On Sunday, he helped set up Flamengo's third goal by Lucas Paquetá. De La Cruz came in and performed well, and it would be very important for him to be able to travel, right? So the game is tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Flamengo has these four players out. Alexandro Saul still, right? Pulgar, Everton, Cebolinha, and they now has a fifth player out. There could be a sixth. The fifth is Jorginho as well, with a problem in his left calf. The injury to his left calf has been confirmed, and they could still be without Nicolas de la Cruz. It's unbelievable. Flamengo is losing. These players are extremely important for this opening match in the Copa Libertadores da América. So we have some important information to share here regarding the pressurization, the issue of oxygen at high altitude. Flamengo changed its strategy for high altitude and will have a pressurized hotel in Cusco. This is information we brought to you 2 weeks ago that Flamengo had found alternatives. To solve the issue of altitude, we didn't know what it was because they hadn't said anything. Now, GE has revealed that it's a pressurized hotel with pressurized rooms, okay? A NASA-style hotel for Flamengo in times of the return of man to the moon. The United States Space Agency is dominating the news worldwide. But it's not them. They have nothing to do with Brunega's debut in the Libertadores. It's just the concept that allows a crew in a rocket or airplane. It has to do with logistics chosen by the club to deal with the altitude. The opening of the report was very good, and that's exactly right. Flamengo had already said this. I told you 2 weeks ago. Flamengo would spend 2 nights in Cusco, and that they needed a different kind of preparation. Precisely because they are at such a high altitude. Né? So there has been a consensus in medicine for some time now that for teams that are not used to extreme altitudes, the best thing is to arrive just a few hours before the game. But this time, Flamengo chose a different strategy, so they will arrive in Cusco the day before the game today. Since the match is at the Garcilaso de la Vera Stadium. It will be at 9:30 p.m. Brasilia time and at 7:30 p.m. local time. This choice, this planning was based on 2 factors. Take a look. Sleep in Lima and then head to Cusco. Only on Wednesday would there be complications. First, because of the heavy traffic in the Peruvian capital for getting around, and second, because of the distance between the cities. So Flamengo will have a hotel with pressurized rooms. That was Flamengo's decision. Spectacular in Cusco. Look at that. Look. So Flamengo will have accommodations at the JW Marriott. El Convento has piping to increase the oxygen supply in order to minimize the sensation of altitude by about 1,000 meters. In other words, the players in the rooms will feel as if they are below 2,500 meters, which is where symptoms begin. In other words, the symptoms actually start from 2,500 meters, and the players won't feel these symptoms. But remember, only inside the rooms. It's important to point that out. The only setback is that the tourist hotel is located in the historic center of Cusco, where buses are not allowed to circulate. Flamengo will have to split the delegation into several vans to get around the city, both for the arrival from the airport and for the departure to the stadium. Okay? So Flamengo can't return right after the game. I've already explained that to you over the past few days too. Besides these pressurized rooms, this whole situation with the vans and everything, Flamengo can't return right after the game because there are no flights on Wednesday night. So Flamengo has to stay until the next day, Thursday, to return to Rio de Janeiro. All right? So that's Flamengo's preparation for this complicated trip, which is always playing at high altitude. Yeah, my friends, and yesterday we had it. We brought Pedrinho's statement here for you regarding BAP, that he is arrogant, overbearing, and that he supposedly made a veiled comment that Vasco supposedly took out a loan with Crefisa during the week of the game against Palmeiras and ended up losing 3-0 and so on. I've already said I don't think BAP said that. It wasn't an accusation. He just said he thought it was strange that it happened, And it is strange, especially if you put together everything that's happening. And then there's also the statement from the Fluminense representative at the event, right? So Leila even said, every time Palmeiras wins a game, there's a scandal. It's always about the refereeing. I've said before, as Palmeiras president, I don't complain. But Abel complains the day before, right, Leila? And then she said that Flamengo, she meant Flamengo without mentioning Flamengo directly, kind of hinting that Flamengo wanted to be. Flamengo was the Shopee version of Real Madrid. Thanks even for mentioning Shopee, which is a sponsor of Flamengo. By the way, you can get official Mango products, this jersey here. You can get it on Shopee, on YouTube, okay? Leila did the advertising for us, so we take advantage of it. Here we have Flamengo's official products from the club's sponsor. So Leila said all that, and Palmeiras fans were there praising Leila Pereira for provoking Flamengo and everything else. And then we have another context in this whole story. A lot of the time, fans can't really assess it. There's a Palmeiras influencer, Neto from Opina Porco, who is extremely impartial. He jokes around, teases, messes with people. That's right. It's part of being a fan. But there are moments when he's extremely impartial. And I'll tell you guys that his statement made me think differently about what's going on. Huh? It made me think differently about what's going on. Let's check out what he said about Leila's statements. He didn't like Leila's statements. Check this out.
She only criticizes, come on, because she only criticizes Flamengo. Why? Oh, because she's the president of Palmeiras? No. Because she's a Vasco fan, and she knows that in the future, regionally speaking, Flamengo will be her future club's regional rival. That she is acquiring. Simply because of that. She doesn't do it for Palmeiras. You're wrong.
Look at that.
Who? I see the Palmeiras fans. I see a lot of Palmeiras fans supporting this argument. And I don't like that. I don't like that. Because that's not for Palmeiras. That's for Vasco. Which club will she join? Last year, Leila already came out attacking Flamengo. What happened at year's end? We lost titles precisely to our biggest rivals, Flamengo, Corinthians. So my friends, this bitter taste, this bitter feeling, I don't want to experience it again. I prefer to focus on Palmeiras, on the work that's being done. Without provoking, without escalating the rhetoric, leave the taunting to the fans with the jokes on social media. The president of Palmeiras' memory seems very important, right? I don't like this. I don't like it. If it were with São Paulo, I don't like it. If it were with Corinthians, I don't like it. Because when other clubs learn things from us, we don't like it. So if she's that good,
this Maritana goes into the other club's cafeterias.
Because she contradicts herself within 50 seconds of the interview. Because she's speaking for herself, not Palmeiras.
At a minimum.
Put it in the opinions there. Because she only criticizes Flamengo. Because...
Then people are commenting here, what's worse is Pedrinho is already on board with that line boss Carminha put out. Palmeiras branch keeps following the script. Yeah. If she doesn't talk about Flamengo, she gets no media attention. She talks about Flamengo to take the focus off the refereeing mistakes. Man, how sensible Neto is. Yeah. The famous Eurico Miranda. Look, it is... Look, this one said it all. Palmeiras fans get mad. LOL. Yeah, I hope everything gets worse for Palmeiras. She's been upset with Flamengo because Flamengo has broken the hearts of millions of them over the years. She still feels it. Guys, that's not the point. The point is that he did really well in all of this. And I'm going to share the statement from Fluminense's representative. There at the event, right, we had... He was talking about it. TNT Sports posted it here. He was talking about all of this. And Mateus Montenegro, president, right, of Fluminense, discussing the disallowed goal versus Coritiba. which could have secured an away win, and Palmeiras' goal in the match against Bahia. The plays are similar. The board was upset. They will submit a formal complaint to the refereeing committee. And now I just wanted to tell you guys the following. What difference does that make to me? It's the fact that Pedrinho spoke out against BAP, calling him arrogant and so on, accusations, indirect comments. Leila also criticized Flamengo on the same day, and I think it was at the same event too. Why are they attacking on the same day at the same time? There's a strategy behind that. We should also mention something important. Do you really think that with Leila investing in Vasco, they're her relative, right? People connected to her, Crefisa over there. Her brother-in-law, I don't know, investing money in Vasco, or even at that moment that Pedrinho mentioned, from that 3-0 loss Vasco suffered. When Crefisa lent money to Vasco, it was at the CDI rate, offering good interest rates. All right. Do you really think he would take a stand like the president of Fluminense did? Because he has nothing to fear. He has nothing to hide. Do you guys really think that BAP is wrong? Doesn't that strike you as odd? If a representative of one club can't criticize the representative of another or question something, because the other side's representative is part of an institution that's lending money or that's investing, there's already something wrong there. There's already something wrong there. So it's not about what you say, Pedrinho, or what you tell people to do, since I don't think you actually tell them either. No one here is accusing anyone of anything. You don't even need to worry about that. Oh, telling someone to do something, there's no such thing. Telling someone to lose. Here's the thing. Man, the guys are lending money. I can't talk about them. I can't criticize. I can't attack. Right? What? Silêncio é o pior. With everything that's going on, silence is the worst. That silence your rival, Fluminense's president, didn't have. Let's listen here. Look here.
Man, what the fan would like in this kind of case is, well, to invade the referees or the assistant's house, something along those lines, which we can't do. What we can do as an official response is Fluminense submitted a formal letter expressing its dissatisfaction with the refereeing. I came to speak with the committee president, and we'll meet tomorrow to address this. Fluminense's stance is clear. The team was harmed in yesterday's game and is competing for the Brazilian championship. We put together a squad to compete for all the titles. Fluminense went into the round 3 points behind the leader.
Palmeiras.
Fluminense's was disallowed. Palmeiras' was allowed. This has nothing to do with Palmeiras. Palmeiras did their part, but it's clear there was a significant difference in criteria between the two plays, and that's why we're dissatisfied.
It has nothing to do with Palmeiras. He's not going to talk like that. He's not going to cause trouble for himself either. He has everything to do with Palmeiras. You said it yourself. They're the leader. Yeah. For Palmeiras, it counts. For the others, it doesn't. For those who are competing with them, it doesn't. The same play counts for Palmeiras, but for those who are fighting against them for the lead, it doesn't. Anything in common with what happened last year, what happened in 2019? Does anyone notice anything similar? He can't accuse, but he makes it very clear. And even Palmeiras fans have already noticed what's happening. And then the question, Pedrinho, is not what you do, it's not what the president of Vasco does, it's the silence. My concern is the silence when you see things happening. And along with that, attacking Flamengo's president that same day as well. And being ridiculous, making ridiculous comments, right, about Real Madrid, Shopee, trying to provoke and all that. All she really knows how to do well is provoke. She lives off of that. She depends on that engagement from Flamengo. We already know that. Well, having said all that, we had TV. Another important thing for us to talk about here, man, is the Koei channel. Let me show you here. He did really well. Check this out. Look at what he said here. Look.
Man, the thing is, Palmeiras is putting together an unbeaten run. Look at this. Let's take a look. Look at this. Let's take a look here. Look at this. Now I'm going to make a comment. In the game against Grêmio, GI, he pushes. Man, it's like this. I've been trying not to talk about these things as much because otherwise it starts to look like I'm picking on them, but I'm not, guys. The guy goes in on a Mosso, the Grêmio player, right in the ribs.
So, my friends, that's it. Send a shout out to the Poi channel. And that's it. When they start complaining about the refereeing at every press conference, and she goes there and says they don't complain, the method, she says, we don't complain, but she sends Abel, he goes there, he complains. And they are being favored every round. And then their fans, no, there's nothing. Start complaining about Flamengo's plays, and Flamengo is being harmed. The other teams, Fluminense is being harmed. Guys, this is very clear. Then Abel went to the press conference recently to complain about the shouting. About the shouting, right, Abel? He complained about the shouting. It's regrettable, guys. It's regrettable. Yeah, there are just a few of us. Here is our friend Robson Boadão. Fla, he also gave his opinion. I'll just wrap up here with Robson Boadão. Take a look.
The guy has it exactly right. He has it exactly right. Just tonight, Flamengo was called the shoppy version of Real Madrid. The president of Palmeiras mentioned a shoppy version of Real Madrid. I think what she meant to say is, it's the one from Vasco. She called President Bappé from Flamengo arrogant. She said the president is arrogant. Bappé is arrogant. That's what she said. Do you know President Bappé's reply? Nothing. Do you know why? Because Vasco is insignificant. Palmeiras is insignificant. Does Palmeiras have 9 Brazilian championships? Palmeiras doesn't have 9 Brazilian championships. Palmeiras has 5.
Only on paper.
Palmeiras doesn't have 5 Copa do Brasil titles. Is Palmeiras a 4-time Libertadores champion? Palmeiras isn't a 4-time Libertadores champion, nor is Vasco. Everything I say about Palmeiras applies here.
Even more so for Vasco.
Palmeiras has something that Flamengo doesn't have. What really hurts is getting relegated. What really hurts is getting relegated. I don't even know how many Vasco has. Seriously, I don't even know. I don't know if it's 20 or 15 or 30. Man, that's totally right.
He's really good. Robson Boadão is really good. And that's it, guys. Everyone is noticing this connection. Right? The silence. The joint attack and the silence speak louder than anything else. That's it. Please follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell. Leave a like on the video. Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Thanks.